Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today we are going to talk about national heroes. I will be talking about Armenian national hero David of Sassoun, who was the main hero of Armenia's national epic, Daredevils of Sassoun. If you are interested in learning more about the Armenian national hero and his deeds, then make sure to stick around until the end of this video. Let's get started. David of Sassoun is the main hero of the Armenian epic, Daredevils of Sassoun. He is also known as David Sassunցի, or simply Sassoun. In the epic, David is described as a brave, skillful warrior with supernatural strength. His father was a king, and his mother was the daughter of a Georgian king. The epic tells the story of how David and his brother led an army of Armenian daredevils against Arab-Egyptian invaders who had occupied their homeland. The epic poem, The Deeds of Sassoun, narrates the struggle of the Armenian people against Arab-Egyptian invaders in the 6th and 7th centuries CE. It is considered one of the most important works in Armenian literature and plays a significant role in shaping Armenian national identity. Sassoun is portrayed as a charismatic leader who inspires his followers to fight for freedom and independence. He is a symbol of courage, resistance, and the indomitable spirit of the Armenian people in the face of oppression and tyranny. Sassoun's bravery and military prowess are legendary. He is celebrated for his ability to defeat enemies who are often numerically superior. Despite facing seemingly insurmountable odds, Sassoun and his companions remain steadfast in their commitment to liberating their homeland from foreign rule. It is said that David was born on Mount Ararat, which is located in modern-day Turkey. However, many scholars believe that the epic is based on real historical events and that David of Sassoun was a real historical figure. According to historians, Arab armies invaded Armenia in the 6th century CE and occupied much of the country. This occupation led to the displacement of many Armenians and the destruction of their culture and heritage. The epic poem tells the story of how David of Sassoun and his followers fought against the Arab invaders and eventually reclaimed their homeland. The epic poem consists of 139 chapters and covers a wide range of themes, including war, love, betrayal, and redemption. The characters in the epic are complex and multifaceted, and the plot is filled with twists and turns that keep the reader engaged. The poem is written in a heroic couplet rhyme scheme, and the language is rich and poetic. The author of the epic is unknown, but it is believed to have been composed between the 14th and 16th centuries CE. The original title of the epic was The Deeds of Sassoun, but it came to be known simply as Sassoun. The epic has been translated into many languages, including English, Russian, and French. Over the centuries, the epic poem has had a profound impact on Armenian literature, art, and culture. The character of Sassoun has become an iconic symbol of Armenian national identity and the struggle for freedom and independence. The epic has inspired countless works of art, including paintings, sculptures, and music. One of the most famous adaptations of the epic is a Soviet-Armenian film called David of Sassoun, directed by Sergei Parajanov. The film is a visually stunning interpretation of the epic poem and is considered a masterpiece of world cinema. Now let us dive deeper into the story of David of Sassoun. David was born into royalty, being the son of King Saharuni and Princess Mariam of Georgia. From a young age, he displayed qualities of leadership and bravery. As he grew older, David honed his skills as a warrior and became renowned for his strength and courage. He was a master swordsman and could reportedly lift heavy boulders with ease. When David was just 20 years old, his father passed away and he became the ruler of Sassoun, a mountainous region in the Armenian highlands. During his reign, David faced numerous threats from neighboring kingdoms and hostile tribes, but he defended his people bravely and established Sassoun as a powerful and prosperous kingdom. One day, while David was hunting in the forest, he encountered a group of poor villagers who were being oppressed by a band of robbers. Without hesitation, David came to their rescue and single-handedly defeated the robbers, returning their stolen possessions. This act of heroism earned him the respect and admiration of the people. As news of David's bravery spread throughout the land, more and more people from neighboring villages flocked to Sassoun, seeking his help against their oppressors. Soon, Sassoun had become a refuge for the oppressed and a center of resistance against tyranny. However, trouble was brewing on the horizon. The Arab armies were advancing into Armenian territory, burning villages and enslaving the local population. The Armenian nobles, terrified by the prospect of war, abandoned their people and fled to safer regions. But David refused to give up. He rallied his people and prepared to resist the invaders. With the help of his close friend and advisor, a wise and experienced general named Vahan, David trained his warriors in guerrilla tactics and led them in ambushes and raids against the Arab supply lines. Although David's forces were outnumbered and outgunned, they inflicted heavy casualties on the Arab invaders and disrupted their plans for conquest. Despite their military success, the Armenian people suffered greatly from the war. Their homes were destroyed, their crops were burned, and their families were torn apart. Many of David's warriors had lost loved ones to the conflict and longed for peace. But David remained resolute in his determination to liberate his people and reclaim their homeland. One day, David received a message from the Arab commander offering him a chance to surrender and join the invaders. If he agreed, his life would be spared and he would be granted a noble title and a share of the plunder. But David responded defiantly, refusing to submit to his enemies and vowing to fight to the death. Enraged by David's refusal, the Arab commander launched a massive attack on Sassoun, sending wave after wave of soldiers against the Armenian defenders. But the defenders held their ground, repelling every attack with valor and determination. As the battle raged, David found himself facing off against the Arab commander in a one-on-one duel. With his sword raised high, David charged forward, his face a mask of grim determination. The Arab commander met his charge with a shield raised high, and the two warriors clashed in a flurry of steel. The duel was fierce, and neither warrior gave an inch. But in the end, David's strength and skill prevailed. With a final thrust of his sword, he disarmed the Arab commander and held his sword to his throat. The Arab commander surrendered, ending the battle and saving his men from further bloodshed. In the aftermath of the battle, David's reputation as a hero grew even more. He had defended his people and proven himself to be a master warrior. But he knew that the war was far from over, and that the Arab armies would return. So David gathered his people and began to rebuild their homes and their lives. He established a system of watchtowers and early warning signals to keep Sassoun safe from surprise attacks, and he continued to train his warriors, preparing for the inevitable return of the Arab invaders. Years passed, and Sassoun prospered under David's rule. His name became synonymous with courage, leadership, and unwavering determination. And the people of Sassoun lived in relative peace, knowing that they had David to protect them. But as the old saying goes, every good thing must come to an end. Eventually, the Arab armies returned, led by a new commander who was even more ruthless and determined than his predecessors. This time, David knew that he would need more than just his wits and his sword to defeat the invaders. So he reached out to his allies, calling on other Armenian princes and lords to join him in the fight for their homeland. Together, David and his allies assembled an army of 18,000 men, each one of them eager to defend their homes and families. The Arab commander, confident in his army's superiority, ordered them to attack. What followed was one of the most epic battles in history. The Armenian army, led by David, fought with the ferocity of cornered lions, repelling every attack and inflicting heavy casualties on the Arab invaders. But the Arab army was too strong and eventually broke through the Armenian lines. David found himself surrounded and outnumbered, but he refused to give up. With his sword raised high, he fought like a man possessed, cutting down Arab soldiers left and right. But even David's superhuman strength and skill were not enough to save him. Finally, as the sun began its slow descent, David felt a spear pierce his chest. With a grunt of pain, he slumped to the ground, his eyes losing their fiery determination. As the Arab soldiers closed in, believing they had won the battle, David looked up at the sky, a faint smile on his lips. He had fought well, he thought, and his people had bought precious time in their struggle for freedom. And so David of Sassoun died, but his legend lived on. The people of Sassoun, though defeated in battle, refused to submit to their conquerors. They continued to resist, hoping that one day they would be free again. And so the story of David of Sassoun became a symbol of hope and resistance for the Armenian people, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, one man's courage can inspire an entire nation. And with that, we have come to the end of our story today. We hope you enjoyed this video about the Armenian national hero, David of Sassoun. If you did, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos about Armenian history and culture. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.